A German shepherd showed up at the same grave every morning for 6 months. Rain, fog, frost. It didn't matter. Just after sunrise he would appear, walk the gravel path between the headstones, and sit at the same spot near the south end of Bramble Hill Cemetery. Before we begin this powerful tale of silence and sacrifice, tell me in the comments what was your first dog's name and breed. You can help stories like this be heard, remembered, and shared. If this one touches your heart, like the video and don't forget to follow for more true feeling stories of healing, loyalty, and quiet courage. Sometimes the strongest voices are the ones that never speak, and sometimes they bark. Row 14, Grave 76. Dorothy Reeves, 1949, 2021, beloved sister, fierce friend. And every morning he sat silently for exactly 23 minutes, then disappeared. Anna wasn't supposed to be at the cemetery that often, but after her father died and she moved with her aunt into the tiny house across the road, she started walking the graveyard every morning before school. At first it was for the quiet, then for the pattern, then for him. She first noticed the dog in late November, thin, large, with a coat of black and grey like layered ash. His eyes were amber, bright even in the cold light. He didn't wear a collar, but he moved with the tired dignity of something once trained, once trusted. She kept her distance for the first week. The dog kept his. But then, the frost came. One morning the wind bit through her jacket as she approached the familiar row. She spotted him before he saw her, sitting stiffly, paws tucked, his breath curling in white puffs. She pulled off one glove, dug into her pocket, and tossed a piece of her granola bar toward him. He didn't move, but he didn't leave either, so she came back the next day, and the next. By the 5th morning, she brought boiled chicken. That was the day he stood up, walked 2 steps forward, and took it from her hand. His tongue grazed her palm, his tail didn't wag, but something shifted. "I named you Diesel," she whispered a few days later, as he laid beside the grave again. "You look like something built to survive." Diesel blinked slowly. His body was covered in old scars, most too faded to read. One on his flank still looked fresh, half-healed, pink and puckered. She reached toward it once, and he gently pulled away. "Okay," she said. "Not ready." Her aunt, a nurse who worked long shifts, barely noticed Anna's early walks, and Anna preferred it that way. Since the funeral she had spoken less, smiled almost never, and drifted through school like a ghost no one could quite touch. But Diesel made space for her in the silence, a kind of partnership. 2 living beings sitting beside the dead, and for Anna that was enough. Until the morning it changed. It was late February when Diesel didn't go to grave 76. Anna watched in confusion as he bypassed it entirely, his nose low, steps slow. He padded down 3 rows, curved behind a row of oak trees, and stopped at a stone with no name, just weather-worn marble, blank and leaning slightly. Diesel sat down in front of it, didn't move, didn't look at her, didn't blink. Anna's skin prickled. Diesel, he didn't react. She stepped forward, cautiously. There was no inscription, no flowers, no sign of recent visitors, just dried grass and 2 deep scratches near the base of the stone. Diesel placed one paw against the cold surface and stared, and Anna suddenly felt like she wasn't supposed to be there, not because of fear, because of truth. And whatever had been buried there wasn't resting. Diesel wouldn't leave the stone. Every morning for a week, he led Anna straight past Dorothy Reeves' grave, past the flowers she used to leave, past the spot he had once claimed, and stopped at the unmarked headstone hidden beneath a crooked birch tree. He would sit, place one paw against the cold surface, and wait. Anna tried to read something from it, an engraving, a date, anything, but the marble had worn smooth, as if time itself had been told to forget. That Saturday, Anna walked to the cemetery office at the far end of the grounds. It was a small brick building with a single desk, a microwave, and a rack of dusty pamphlets about grief support and healthy memorial practices. Behind the counter sat a man named Roy, 60-ish, sweater vest, tired eyes. "Need help with a burial record?" he asked. "I'm just curious about an old grave," Anna replied. "It's on the south side. No name on the stone." Roy raised an eyebrow. "We get a few of those. Vandals. Mostly. Storm damage." "What row?" "I think 17, near a birch tree." He sighed, pushed aside his sandwich, and turned to an old filing cabinet. "Let's see." It took him 5 minutes. Then he pulled out a yellowed folder and handed it to her. 1 page. No photo, no family listed, just a name scribbled in fading ink. Casey Lynn Holloway. Date of burial: October 2nd, 2012. Age 17. Anna's breath hitched. "Why no stone?" she asked. Roy hesitated. "There was one," he said, "but some folks didn't want it there." "Why?" He closed the folder. "You'll have to ask someone older than me for that answer." Anna spent the rest of the weekend in the town library, where the archive computer stuttered like it hadn't been used since 2004. She typed in the name, Casey Lynn Holloway. Only one result came up: an article behind a paywall titled, "Teen Girl Found Dead in Ravine. Foul Play Suspected." The date matched the burial. Anna's hands trembled as she clicked through. The article was short. Casey had been a junior at Bramble Hill High. She'd gone missing one Friday night after a football game. Her body was found 3 days later by a K-9 search team. The report said she died from blunt force trauma. No one was ever charged. Anna sat frozen for a long time. Then she whispered out loud, as if Diesel were beside her, "You found her." That night, she told her aunt about the article. Not the dog, just the grave. Her aunt went quiet, too quiet. "I remember that girl," she said finally. "It was all over town. Her parents moved away right after the funeral." "Why doesn't she have a headstone?" "Because people like to erase what they don't want to carry." Anna stared. "Do you think someone killed her?" Her aunt didn't blink. "I think everyone has already decided not to ask." Monday morning, Diesel met her at the fence like usual. Anna brought him half a turkey sandwich, a water bottle, and a question that had been haunting her for days. "You led the police to her, didn't you?" she asked. He lowered his head and gently nudged the gravel with his paw. She took it as a yes. "You were the one who found her, and then they forgot you." He licked her palm once, then turned, and this time, he didn't walk to the unmarked grave. He walked to the woods behind it. The path was barely visible, just a faint trail pressed into old leaves and tangled vines. Diesel moved slowly, but with purpose. Anna followed, brushing branches away from her face. 100 yards in, the woods opened into a small clearing. There, half buried under leaves and thyme, stood a broken fence and a rusted sign. Bramble Hill Motel closed since 2011. Diesel circled the collapsed entrance like he'd been here yesterday. Anna shivered. This was where she died. That night, Anna confronted Roy at the cemetery office again. "You said people didn't want her remembered," she said. "Why?" He looked at her long and hard. Then he said one word: "Power. Power." Her father worked for the county. Her uncle was on the school board. They didn't want questions, didn't want headlines. They told everyone it was a runaway, a bad crowd. But that girl had bruises older than the fall, and the dog that found her, nobody ever claimed him. He leaned forward. "I always thought he was trying to get someone to finish the job, finish the truth." Anna stood by the unmarked grave, the next morning with Diesel beside her. She looked down at the blank stone and said the name out loud. "Casey." The wind shifted, and Diesel finally lay down, not in silence, but in stillness, like something had been released. The email Anna sent to the Bramble Hill Gazette was short. "I believe the girl buried in the unmarked grave at Bramble Hill Cemetery was denied justice. Her name was Casey Holloway. She was found by a K-9 who never left her side. The town forgot her. He didn't." She attached the article, a photo of the blank headstone. and Diesel, sitting silently beside it, paw resting against the stone. She didn't expect a reply, but she got one. 2 hours later, the article went live the next morning. Headline: The Dog Who Waited, Forgotten Death, Unmarked Grave, Unfinished Story. It spread faster than she could follow, first among students, then teachers, then adults who remembered something weird about that year. By afternoon, 3 local reporters showed up at the cemetery, asking to film Diesel. Anna refused. "This isn't a story about a dog," she said. "It's a story about a girl who never got to speak for herself." But someone wasn't happy about it. That evening, a note appeared tucked under the cemetery gate. "Stop digging up ghosts. The dog doesn't know what he's doing, but you do." No signature, just mud smudged across the envelope. Anna showed it to Roy, who went pale. "That's someone scared," he said. "Which means you're close." The next day, Diesel didn't meet her at the fence. Panic bloomed in her chest. She ran the full length of the cemetery, calling his name. Nothing. Then she remembered the woods. She found him in the clearing near the old motel. He was lying beside the rusted fence, breathing heavily, his side scraped, a fresh gash across his ear. Beside him, pawing at the dirt, was something she hadn't seen before. A bracelet, old, weathered, tangled with vines, and engraved with a name, C.H. Casey Holloway. Anna knelt, tears in her eyes. "You found it." Diesel pushed his nose into her hand. A silent yes. Someone had tried to cover the truth again. But Diesel remembered, and Anna was no longer alone. 3 days later, after a flurry of pressure and noise, the cemetery board quietly approved a request to replace the unmarked headstone. Anna raised the money through donations. The new stone was carved simple, strong and final. Casey Lynn Holloway, 1995-2012. She was never lost. Someone just didn't want her found. Found by Diesel, loved ever since. At the unveiling, a crowd gathered. Some came for closure, others for curiosity. Anna came for Diesel, but Diesel didn't come. Not at first. Just as the pastor read the final line, paws crunched across the gravel, the crowd turned. Diesel limped slowly through the headstones, head lowered, ears up. He stopped beside the new stone, rested his paw against it, then laid down, and stayed. He died 3 nights later. In his sleep, peaceful, whole. Anna buried him beside the oak tree just outside the cemetery gates. A small plaque marked the spot. Diesel. He waited until she was seen. Anna visits every week. Sometimes she brings flowers. Sometimes she brings questions. And when the wind passes through the cemetery trees just right, it sounds like paw steps.